Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of BSTM. That's a Blood, Sweat, Tears and Martabak podcast coming to you straight from my living room. Really? I'm not kidding. By the way, if you wonder about the podcast title, originally I've been thinking of making this only a special English language episode under the banner of my otherwise Slovak language podcast Metalovi Tatko, that is, Metal Dad in English. But then I thought, maybe that needs to be separate. If so, what title should it bear? And after a few days it dawned on me. What musician doesn't know a thing or two about blood, sweat and tears? All of them. Newcomers and seasoned musicians knew all about it. And Martabak part? Come on, what better represents Indonesia than the cake even I can make? Yep, I made it twice already. So for all of you who somehow stumble upon this little thing and wonder, what the hell is this? Well, BSTM is my another step in the promotion of Indonesian, and in the sense Asian music, here in the western part of Europe, mainly focused on the underground part of the music coming from the area. So if you ever wondered, do they play, say, thrash metal in Indonesia? You're gonna find out. And by the way, they do play thrash metal in Indonesia and they play it very well, just so you know. But together we're gonna discover bands from various music genres, from the punk in its various forms and alternative rock, through hardcore and metalcore to the extreme side of music, brutal death metal and the like. You will find it all here. But enough of me ranting, let's see what we have here today. What do you say? The very first group to feature in BSTM podcast is a relatively young band from Jakarta. Started on June 6, 2022, founder Marco Bijayanto, I hope that I pronounced the name correctly. So Marco, who was originally the guitarist and vocalist for the band, was previously a member of several grunge bands such as Marigold, Coma and Coma Hitam. Marco now focused on the vocal duties only. The bassist Reza Zolhamsyah is into funk rock such as Red Hot Chili Peppers, new metal stuff like Limp Bizkit, even the oldies like Level 42. The second guitarist, Stanley Harjadinata, if I pronounced it correctly, is a metalhead through and through. And, by the way, you can hear his guitar work also through the songs of the band Getah. So that's Getah, which, if I'm not mistaken, are based in Jakarta as well. And the first lineup was completed by the grunge drummer Andy. Andy was eventually replaced by Osso, who's previously been the drummer for metal bands like Trashline and death metal band God Gore, hardcore band Stand With Us from Chilandak, the grunge band The North Side, hardcore band Black Redemption, alternative rock band Noisy People, and the grunge band Coma Hitam. With such a diverse music background, the music of Tante Lucy is indeed hard to categorize genre-wise, so I think the best would be to play it, right?
Understand, you all imagine what's concerned.
Okay, this was Tante Lucy from Jakarta. And if you want to learn a little bit more about these guys, you can check the interview with them on my webpage indocult.com. For our next band, we will travel to a different Indonesian city. This time it's gonna be Cikarang, the industrial city about 1 hour drive away from Jakarta, if you drive a car. And what band we're gonna talk about? There are quite a few there to discover, to be honest, and today's pick is the post-hardcore band BTF. That was originally Blood the Face, but guys now go by BTF only. Starting back in 2010, after some break caused by usual things like lineup changes, live, the band got back on track in 2022, and by the end of that year released their EP titled Rebirth. What about their music? Well, judge for yourself. This is their single Laban, on which they got a little help from Hendro from the slam deathcore band from Jakarta, Esoteric Revelation. So that was BTF and their song Laban. It's worth of mentioning that is a trio without a permanent drummer at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. And while we're talking about BTF and Cikarang, just recently, and it was back in June, BTF were among the bands sharing the stage at Terrace Gigs Volume 1 at Kedai Terrace, and I just mention it because I did the interview with the organizer of the gig and co-owner of Kedai Terrace, Adex, and I just realized I haven't posted the English version of that interview yet, so my bad. And how to, rectify that error? Let's enjoy one more song from BTF while I'm fixing it. What do you think? From Cikarang back to Jakarta. Next band we're going to discover is also a relatively young addition to the Jakarta punk rock music scene, and its name is Constitusi. The band was formed on July 31st, 2021 by vocalist Asad, guitarist Leo, bassist Alvin and Altaf on drums. Then Asad was replaced by Zaki in December 2021. In July 2022, they experienced another lineup change. This time, Chandra replaced Altaf on drum duties. Constituency released their first release, not raised as the Demos 021, on SoundCloud and YouTube channels. It's a raw recording from the rehearsal room, I assume. So if you want to experience pure joy of playing and the raw punk energy, check the link in description. Constituency will release new single by the end of July this year, which is basically now. It's called Living in Slavery, and we're going to enjoy it right now. So, Constituency, Living in Slavery, enjoy. That was Constituency from Jakarta and their new single Living in Slavery. And I definitely recommend to check also their song Varing on SoundCloud, the better sounding version, because it's absolutely fantastic. Total punk anthem straight away. And I have to admit that due to the language barrier, there could be a confusion in the communication with the band we're gonna listen to next. Therefore, I don't have much information about this band, apart from they are a quintet and they are from South Bekasi. And most importantly, they play hip metalcore. Okay, I will need to go back to the band for more information, but I think this is yet another great song here on BSTM Podcast, so enjoy!
Kehidupan manusia terisolir dan segala macam problema. Mulai dari rasa yang hina hingga realita yang terlalu panas terprovokasi. Wanita pembuai mata akan memperkosa ambisi yang ada, merusak realita yang terlalu panas terprovokasi. Wanita pemuai mata akan memperkosa ambisi yang ada, merusak jiwa dan merasa fata morgana itu yang terasa. Coba pergi dari pikiran yang gelap, coba pergi dari pikiran tertanam. Get the power!
So this was the song called Transition of Life from band Startup. And if you like the metalcore genre, and I'm aware of the fact that it's immensely popular in Indonesia right now, don't go away, because I have for you a band from Depok, which is located south of Jakarta. We're talking about Burning Flame, folks. They just released their latest single, Far Away, as a collaboration with Ryoichi Suemori from the popular Japanese metalcore band Sailing Before the Wind. So let's have a listen first.
God, please forgive me.
This was the latest single from Burning Flame. This band traces its beginning back to 2010 with the release of their EP called Sky of Hate and Damned. And if you want to learn more about their past works, you can try to find their albums Seven Fire from 2017 and Fascination from 2021. And earlier this year, the band, consisting of Gerard on vocals, Fabio and Rapai on guitars, Adit on bass and Eddie on drums, released a single Against the Era, and you can be sure as hell you're gonna hear it right now. I'd like to use this break between the songs to talk a bit about the concept of BSTM podcast. You know, the whole 9 yards, as they say. I have already expressed some thoughts of mine in my Instagram video post. But for those of you who don't follow Intercult on Instagram, where I usually post my updates, this might serve as a bit more info. So, to be honest, and to be totally honest with you, I don't see myself as a speaker person behind the mic or in front of camera. I don't like it. But That's why I usually don't produce audio-video content. I just feel more comfortable as a writer, researcher, and interviewer. However, let's not lie to ourselves. First of all, generally speaking, people nowadays like to watch things or listen to them. As little reading as possible, please. That's the motto for today. So, in my effort to promote music, I have to go with the flow, like it or not. That's the unfortunate fact of life. Therefore, this is the reason why the BSTM podcast came up as the idea. But the thing is, and that's more important, the music should be listened to. Am I right or am I right? So, with the podcast, if people like this little project and they can get over my obnoxious talking, they can listen to a great music without going to the effort of looking for it all over the net. And that's basically it. Obviously, there are more plans in the development stage, but these have to wait until we see if this podcast will find its listeners. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Well, we'll see. Are we being too serious now? I think we are. So, let's get back to music, good people. And I still have a few songs for you that I'm pretty sure you will enjoy. So, how many of you have heard of the Indonesian punk band Recidif? You know, that one from the East Jakarta? Well, if you don't, you will know about them now. It's a trio, and as expected there are 3 persons there. Ilham on vocal and bass, a lead guitarist Zaki, and a new drummer called Rafa. The song Maktub is their first song to be released, and in coming August, that means next month, they will release their first release with 3 songs called Vandalis. What do you think? We'll lend them our ears, right? That's the beauty of punk. No matter how similar to other songs it sounds, it's still great. And I'm definitely listening to their upcoming release, and you should too. By the way, if it seems that we bounce back and forth between metalcore and punk, that's because it's true. And to emphasize that point, there's another great metalcore release you probably never heard about. It's coming from the band called Woodgun. Unfortunately, I don't know where these guys come from. but that won't stop us to learn a bit about them. The single dramatic production, just released on July 28th, as a taste of things to come when their second album is released later in December 2023, is the first song for the band after almost 2 years of inactivity, and the first song with new band members Fajar on vocals and Marcelo on drums. With the metalcore as the basis, and borrowing from the new metal genre, Woodgun creates immense listening experience, and I think it's time to prove this statement. Slowly coming to the end of this first episode of Blood, Sweat, Tears and Martabak podcast. I hope you like it so far and will become its fans and supporters. And with this being said, because the work never stops, let's talk about how to be featured in some of our next episodes. Of course, I will post regular updates and callouts for the bands to participate through my Intercult Instagram account. But feel free to get in touch with me by emailing me. The email address is editor@indocult.com. If you want to be featured in the podcast, you only need to send one, or two if you want, of your songs in MP3 format, short biography and discography of the band, a band picture, social media links and some contacts. Because the worst things to happen is for fans not being able to reach you because they can't find you. And then I can't tell our listeners more about your band, which is the case of our last band for today, Jakarta melodic punk rockers called Black Ribbon. Not much I know about them, but one thing is for certain. They send a song for the podcast and the song will be played. And I really like it. So there was a Black Ribbon and their song Mistake Redemption. And folks, this was the very last song for today's episode of Blood, Sweat, Tears and Martabak podcast. If you like it, please share it with your friends. And if you don't like it, let me know why. It will help me to make it better. And last but not least, and this one is very important, if you like any of the songs presented, make a bit of effort to show support to those artists. I know many times we are just mindlessly scrolling through our social media feeds, not thinking about actually showing some support to artists who deserve that. Tell your friends about them, listen to them, become fans, buy some merch, if you can afford it, attend the gigs. One little thing from you means a lot for these bands or solo artists. Okay, that's all from me for today. Have a great start of the new week. All the best. Stay healthy, listen to music, and be kind to each other. I know it's a cliché, but I mean it. Rudolf signs off. Sampai jumpa lagi.